I want to ask you about what K beauty's popularity has meant for you, yourself, as a mom.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, I will say from my vantage point, it has certainly made the idea of being cool as an Asian feel really differently than when I was growing up.
BBC 아메리카의 글로벌 스토리에서 미국을 점령한 K-뷰티 트렌드와 K-뷰티가 미국의 아시아계에 미친 영향에 대한 이야기를 나누고 있습니다. 이 프로그램의 호스트인 아스마 칼리드는 미국에서 나고 자란 파키스탄계 미국인으로 미국의 대표적 공영방송 중 하나인 NPR의 백악관 출입기자로 오랫동안 활동했었습니다. 또한 게스트로 출연한 앨리스 후도 미국에서 나고 자란 중국계 미국인으로 2015년 NPR 서울지국장으로 한국에 부임하여 4년간 근무했던 경력을 가지고 있습니다.
How exactly did Korean beauty become such a global money-making phenomenon? There's this super popular cosmetic store that's near the BBC offices here in DC that I have unfortunately spent a little too much time and money in over the years. And one thing I've noticed is that there are so many Korean skincare products. I'm not talking about just a little dedicated section. I'm talking about shelves and shelves of sheet masks, moisturizers, serums, all promising to give you that iconic, pore-free, glassy skin look that is so synonymous with K-beauty. This whole K-beauty scene has been trendy for a while. I'm sure you know that. But what we're seeing now is a supercharged K-beauty boom. As of this year, the United States now imports more cosmetics from South Korea than any other country. At least I'm so grateful that we have you on the show today because you have spent years reporting from South Korea. You're also an expert on Korean beauty. You've written a book about this all. And Korean beauty products have been popular globally for some time now. But what I think really caught our attention is that this year, for the first time, South Korea is now the biggest cosmetics exporter to the United States. How did you get so interested in reporting on this trend?
Yeah, I was sent to Seoul to open NPR's first Northeast Asia bureau, which covered both Koreas, North Korea, South Korea, and Japan, in the beginning of 2015, so now 10 years ago. And that was at the sort of height or the peak of the first K-beauty wave. This is when K-beauty was becoming really understood and of interest abroad in the United States. And that happened to coincide with my time in South Korea, when a lot of folks were coming over to Seoul to try and fill giant suitcases worth of skincare and makeup products to bring back home to China or bring back home to the UK or the United States.
And in fact, I was going to say, when we went to South Korea with President Biden, I ran out to go grab a bunch of Korean beauty products and nearly missed the press bus because I was like, I must get these products.
There is going to be an Olive Young opening in 2026.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's a lot more Olive Youngs per capita in Korea than there are Sephoras per capita in the United States.
We've been talking about beauty and culture during this conversation, but you were a long-time correspondent in South Korea, also covering the politics, the government, the policies, all of that. And so I am very curious how you view this K-beauty trend as offering a potential soft power boost to the Korean government. What does it mean for the Korean government?
First, it helps the bottom line in a big way because in 2025, South Korea surpassed France as the world's second largest beauty exporter, so cosmetics and skincare exporter. Before, it was the US, France, then South Korea. For a long time, the South Korean government had set as a goal, we want to be bigger. We want to see if by 2025, I think, we could actually achieve this goal of being the biggest or the second biggest exporter in the world. And they did it. And so that is huge for the bottom line and the maintaining and the growing of an economy that's largely export related. When it comes to culture, we have seen Parasite win Oscars. Numerous Oscars. We have seen Squid Game be the biggest thing on Netflix until K-pop Demon Hunters became the biggest thing on Netflix. Korean stars are sought after all over the world.
I want to ask you about what K-beauty's popularity has meant for you, yourself, as a mom.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, I will say from my vantage point, it has certainly made the idea of being cool as an Asian feel really differently than when I was growing up. I mean, you just look at how many people dressed up as, say, K-pop demon hunters for Halloween. How do you feel that Americans aspiring to Asian beauty standards has changed the idea of being an Asian American in the United States?
I found it really affirming to be out trick-or-treating with my kids at Halloween and see so many little girls dressing up as Rumi from K-pop Demon Hunters. I loved it. I had a real sense growing up of being an outsider or part of an out group and then wanting to assimilate to dominant culture, which for me in St. Louis and then Texas was whiteness, right? And white European beauty ideals, which of course I would never be able to achieve because look at me, I'm an Asian person. And now you have a lot of the mixing and remixing of beauty standards all over the world such that there are more global ideals. And I think there is something really promising about that because I feel my three daughters who are now 8 and 10 and 13 they aren't ashamed of their Asianness. They have dark hair and they have Asian features. Whereas I certainly was because I didn't look like everybody else and I wanted to. And, when you're little, you just want to fit in. But the fact that girls and women still have to place so much attention and value on our appearance at all, and that is tied into our feelings of worthiness, is obviously problematic, right? And my teenager, now I have a 7th grader who sometimes is like, I don't want to go to school. I look so bad today.
Well, Elise, thank you so much. It's so nice to reconnect with you and get a chance to talk. It's been ages.
Yeah, it has, and it's just been a delight to be able to gab about all this with you. Thanks for having me on.
시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 앞으로 더욱 알차고 재밌는 내용으로 찾아뵙겠습니다.